This was our first lesson on Anatomy of a Suicide, our actual script run through. In the next few vlogs, I'm going to be going through the lessons and what we actually did, but quite a lot of these lessons are basically just working through each scene using Sir's direction and Miss Starbuck's direction to help our performance, and also notes and ideas that we thought about the lines to help us act about it but also understand the script. So what I'm going to be doing is going through each lesson, but that will simultaneously be going through each scene pretty much. So in this lesson we looked at first we looked at all three scenes going on in scene 3, and then we looked at our specific sections. So I am Jo in the scene 3, in the scene with the first ever Bonnie and Jo scene, when they meet, when Jo has got a fish hook through her hand and Bonnie is treating her as her doctor. Simultaneously, what's going on, I have my script in my hand just to help me go through my notes, is in the kitchen with Carol, who is smoking. It's the interaction between her and Toby, which is her brother-in-law. Yeah, her brother-in-law. So John, her husband's sister's husband, Emma's husband, basically. And it's quite an unusual interaction. And you've also got in the bedroom with Anna, who is taking drugs. So the most dialogue is actually in the Bonnie and Jo scene and that interaction. We found that when we first went through this, it was quite hard to get everything simultaneous, but we read through them all and then we worked individually on the scenes. So I'm going to be talking about going through individually scenes, and then we haven't actually at this point gone through them all together, so that will be in my next vlog about putting them all together, and hopefully if we do some rehearsals on that, and then putting them all together should be okay, and I'll do some vlogs about that. So first of all, I'm going to go through the lines and some significant points in the lines, and then directing through how we were told to direct certain things. So it starts off with mainly Bonnie and Jo just speaking about the doctors, and it's clear from the start that Jo is attracted to Bonnie. She's quite flirtatious, she's quite light-hearted, quite funny. She does make a comment about Dr. Hart, which would be funny, but you didn't say so. She's trying to make a joke, she's trying to make it light-hearted, but the scene itself was quite difficult because we had to start thinking about a routine that Bonnie could do, as in cleaning the bandage, doing the stitches, is simultaneous to the lines when she says she's going to do specific things. This was harder for Bonnie's, the actress who's playing Bonnie, than for me as playing Jo. It just meant that I had to get the lines in the correct time. Quite a lot of the time, awkward pauses are quite clear, not only to link with the other scenes when thinking about we're going to link them with the other scenes, but also to make the awkward interaction between the two. This is the first time they've met, so it's quite a significant moment. And introducing Bonnie's character as well, it's the first time she's ever been on stage, and we're introduced to Bonnie, the audience, introducing Bonnie to the audience, and so it's got to make a lasting reaction. They've got to know who Bonnie is. So it continues. Jo tries to introduce herself by saying I'm Jo, just through doing introductions. She's quite a funny, bubbly character, but also embarrasses herself quite a lot in what she says and then regrets it. She says often, not that there's a good time to stab yourself in the hand with a fishing hook and vomit on a nurse, but it shows a more embarrassing side to her, and I think that makes the audience sympathise with her. It makes the audience quite like her because we feel connected to her on stage. Also because we start to understand that Bonnie is someone who's not very good at interactions. It provides a contrast but also makes us quite understanding of Jo's character, less understanding of Bonnie's character, but I think as I've read through the script, and as we work through the scenes, we'll understand Bonnie's character a lot more, and that'll be the same for the audience when they watch the play, hopefully, if we can portray that correctly. We'll start to understand her more, that she's not very good at interaction, but it's not because she doesn't want to be, or because she's not a very nice character, it's because she struggles with that sort of interaction. The conversation goes on, and it's a lot of just a lot of the medical stuff happening whilst doing the lines. When I managed to film it, we didn't get to film it this lesson, but when I managed to film it, I'll talk through that too. It goes on to say about a joke. So having two lesbian characters, introducing that lesbian side to it has a lot of relevance to the more modern side, because there are different time frames in Carol, Anna and Bonnie's. Bonnie's is more modern, it's forward in its time, and it's later on than the year we're actually living in, so lesbians are more accepted, and it's introducing that. But she says it's deep, you feel it too. She means the cut. Joe's trying to make a joke, and it doesn't really go down well. She keeps saying I was joking, it was a joke. I was told to be directed to everything that Bonnie does. Joe is trying to create a conversation of. When she says it was a joke and Bonnie just replies with okay, she's like, okay, because it was quite an awkward reaction to her, but also she keeps wanting to talk to her. Quite a lot of the time is a reaction to the pain. So when she says okay, sorry, we were told to have the sorry the reaction to the first stitch. So using the script and the physical side, it was different to just reading it on its own to actually putting it on the stage, using this as we thought it would be in a real life situation. She keeps trying to distract herself from the pain, so saying I didn't even catch anything, not one fish, also wanting to carry on that conversation with Bonnie a lot of the time. She tries to talk about what she does, so catching fish, that's how she makes her living. It's basically introducing what both the characters do. You learn that Jo is a fisherwoman, you learn that she's quite an open character, quite bubbly and funny. You also learn that Bonnie's not very good at interaction, she's quite absorbed in her work. You don't really learn much about Bonnie's life, but I guess you mainly learn that from the other scenes previous. You might not have put the link together yet, but when we put all the scenes together, then I think it will make it a lot clearer, and when we work through the script itself. Pulling up trawlers, it's not very lucrative. Jo hasn't got a lot of money, she's quite poor, she's not that well off. I think Bonnie probably would have quite a lot of money because she's a doctor, so again shows contrast between the two, but sometimes opposites attract. So I think it's this hopeful sort of glimpse at something that Bonnie could have. As we later see in the play, obviously things don't work out, but at this point when we're acting it out, we wanted to show that there is this sort of connection between the two, especially as the first scene introduced. She's a bit traditional. It carries on, and Jo tries to ask Bonnie about her life. So, was your dad a doctor? She's overly dramatic. The wow, I was told to turn around and say wow, gesturing to Bonnie, but also moving the hand around, which she shouldn't be because it's severely injured. Sort of a big reaction, over dramatic but funny. It's supposed to be the funny side, especially in contrast to the other scenes that we've read through. When we've gone through it all, we should be able to show the differences between the seriousness on one side and the funniness on another, with again in the middle still taking the drugs and the reaction to that, no words, just certain other things. You must be very clever. I must be. She plucks up the courage, Jo, to ask her if she fancied a drink. We don't know if Bonnie's reaction is genuine or not. I feel like she is, because Bonnie's quite a genuine person, so she just says she shouldn't drink anything alcoholic. Then Bonnie replies, this wasn't really what I was asking, lemonade then. There's a really big pause between lemonade then and is that a yes? which is the things that Joe says to try and go on a date with Bonnie, basically. The pause, we decided that maybe something might have changed her mind, something might have made her think that she's saying yes, so passing a piece of paper and a pencil to maybe write down a phone number could be something that she could communicate with saying yes, basically. All done, thank you. So basically throughout this whole scene it's a procedure for Bonnie, it's another patient coming in, but there is this sort of more human connection. She does communicate a little bit, but we think that learning from Bonnie's character that she's quite limited in what she's good at conversation with other people, and so this makes it a bit more of a human interaction, especially later on. You do think that she had this sort of connection with Joe, especially Joe making so much of an effort in this scene. It does carry on into the next scene, and I think that this will be quite interesting to go from one scene with a large gap to the next scene, which we will hopefully do next lesson.